This meeting is being live streamed. Okay. So before we begin reading about Pralambasura during this Damodara Vrat, this meeting is being live streamed. Okay, I've taken off I've taken off the YouTube so that we don't get disturbed by that.
Yes.
Let me come back to where we are. Okay, good. Now let me try to share the screen here. Let me find the right page to do that. Okay, good. I got that handy. Please just give me a moment here. I'm
No
clicking
problem.
on buttons to get everything set up properly and trying not to be stressed out. Okay, there it is. Great. All right. Ready to go.
Jai.
Namah Vishwaram Satchira Nandarupam La Satkundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Biyo Kalat Davamanam Param Ristam Matyanta Todrucha Gopyan Rudantamul Netra Yukmang Mrjantam Karam Boja Yugmena Satankanetram Muhushvashakam Patre Rehankakanta Shtita Draibam Damodarang Bhaktibadam Iti Drikswalila Birananda Kunde Swagosham Nimajjantam Makyapayantam Tadyeshi Takyeshu Bhaktarjitatvam Puna Prematastam Shata Vritti Vande Varam Deva Mokshang Na Moksha Badingva Na Chanyam Vrinehang Vare Shadapiha Itam Teva Purnata Gopalabalam Sada Mimanasa Virastam Kimadyai Idang te mukam bojam atyanta nilayar Vritang kuntalai snigdaraktas chagopya Uhushchumbitam bimbarakta darang me Manasa virastam alang lakshalabhai Namo Deva Damodara Nanta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuka Jalabdi Magnam Kripa Dristi Vristyati Dinang Batanu Kriha Nishamagnagyam Mediakshidrishyam Kuveratma Jobadda Murtyaiva Yatvat Tvaya Mujitau Bhakti Bhajau Kritau Chan Tata Prema Bhakting Swakang Me Prayatcha Nagmokshigraho Mesti Dammodareha Namaste stu damne spuradipti damne Tvadi udarayata vishvasya damne Namo radikayai tvadi apriyayai Namo natalilaya devaya tubhyam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokul, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who's been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances.
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, whose belly is bound not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodar hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Balagopal in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon besides this?
Hare Krishna Nandapatni Prabhu, would you like obeisances to you?
Yeah,
would you like
thank
three
you.
finals?
To everyone, Dandavat pranams. O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair, tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish, like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. Shall I carry on? Or?
Oh, we're just reading one each. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me by showering your glance of mercy upon me. Deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes.
O Lord Damodar, just as the 2 sons of Kuvara, Manigriva and Nala Kuvara, were delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me your own prema bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation.
O Lord Damodar, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope that binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. Yay.
Jai. So tonight we're going to try to cover at least 2 pastimes. And in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Krishna Samhita, where he describes what each of the demons that Krishna kills represents, we'll start in a moment on Pralambasura, who represents lust for women, greed, desire for worship, and position. Even if one is a householder, it is necessary to give up lusty desire. And even if one is a guru, one should not be desirous of being worshipped or receiving great honors or being recognized as a Rasik Acharya. Confirmation there from Nandapatni.
All the pitfalls. Oh my goodness.
Somebody should have read this 30 years ago.
No comment. No
Especially me.
comment.
I should read it again and again every second. And then okay, I don't know if we're going to reach the Yagika Brahmins, but anyway, let's switch over here to have a peek at
wonderful picture.
There's the modern version of Balaram having a great time with Pralambasura.
That's one way of putting it. That's great.
And just before, here's the original one. Oh no, yeah, this is the original.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Prabhupada loved these original ones so much.
Yeah.
I don't know who did it. Rameshwar would know. I know our god sister Devahuti was doing many of them. And Parikshit was involved, I think.
There was an innocence, wasn't there?
This is much more refined, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd still find it very attractive, but somehow or other, Prabhupada really loved these.
Yeah, the beginning ones, they're totally unpretentious.
No one had to go to fine art school or study the masters.
Yeah, that was just, definitely his coaching to Jadharani, who was terribly self-conscious about not actually being an artist. And Prabhupada said again and again that, Krishna will show you, Krishna will show you.
And he sure did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Krishna Chandra, 18, killing the demon Pralambasura. Would you like to begin? And then Nandapatni. So two paragraphs each, so we can make progress with 2 paragraphs each.
No problem. Pleasure. After extinguishing the devastating fire, Krishna, surrounded by his relatives, friends, cows, calves, and bulls, and glorified by their singing, again entered Vrindavan, which is always full of cows. While Krishna and Balaram were enjoying life in Vrindavan, in the midst of the cowherd boys and girls, the season gradually changed to summer. The summer season in India is not very much welcome because of the excessive heat, but in Vrindavan, everyone was pleased because summer there appeared just like spring. This was possible only because Lord Krishna and Balaram, who are the controllers even of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, were residing there. In Vrindavan, there are many falls which are always pouring water, and the sound is so sweet that it covers the sound of the crickets. And because water flows all over, the forest always looks very green and beautiful. The inhabitants of Vrindavan were never disturbed by the scorching heat of the sun or the high summer temperatures. The lakes of Vrindavan are surrounded by green grasses. Gaura Prabhu, we need to change the page.
It's a little bit stuck. Having a little problem trying to get it to go up.
Okay, okay.
Is that okay?
That's quite all right.
Okay.
And various kinds of lotus flowers bloom there, such as the Kalhara Kanjopala, and the air blowing in Vrindavan carries the aromatic pollen of those lotus flowers. When the particles of water from the waves of the Yamuna, the lakes and the waterfalls touched the bodies of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they automatically felt a cooling effect. Therefore, they were practically undisturbed by the summer season.
Mm, gosh, if only now in Kali Yuga, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Vrindavan is such a nice place. Flowers are always blooming, and there are even various kinds of decorated deer. Birds are chirping, peacocks are crowing and dancing, and bees are humming. The cuckoos sing nicely in 5 kinds of tunes. Krishna would praise them, saying, "My dear friends, you're dancing and singing very nicely." Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure, blowing his flute, accompanied by his elder brother Balaram and other cowherd boys and cows, entered the beautiful forest of Vrindavan to enjoy the atmosphere. They walked into the midst of newly grown leaves of trees whose flowers resembled peacock feathers. Gosh, they were garlanded by those flowers and decorated with saffron chalk. Sometimes they were dancing and singing and sometimes wrestling with one another. While Krishna danced, some of the cowherd boys sang and others played on flutes. Some bugled on buffalo horns or clapped their hands, praising Krishna. "Dear brother, you're dancing very nicely." Actually, all these boys were demigods descended from higher planets to assist Krishna in his pastimes. The demigods, garbed in the dress of the cowherd boys, were encouraging Krishna in his dancing, just as one artist encourages another with praise. Up to that time, neither Krishna nor Balaram had undergone the hair cutting ceremony. Therefore, their hair was clustered like crow's feathers, and they were always playing hide and seek with their boy friends, or jumping or fighting with one another. Sometimes, while his friends were chanting and dancing, Krishna would praise them. "My dear friends, you're dancing and singing very nicely." The boys played at catching ball with bell-shaped fruits and round amalaki, and they played blind man's buff, challenging and touching one another. And sometimes they imitated the forest deer and various kinds of birds. They joked with one another by imitating croaking frogs, and they enjoyed swinging underneath trees. Sometimes they would play like a king and his subjects amongst themselves. In this way, Balaram and Krishna, along with all their friends, played all kinds of sports and enjoyed the soothing atmosphere of Vrindavan, full of lakes, rivers, rivulets, fine trees, and excellent fruits and flowers.
Just see if anybody else has arrived. Oh, yay, Bhavatrini's here. Obeisances to you.
Dandavat.
Is Nurhari there too? Or is
Yes,
he-
he's coming. He just.
Okay, would you like to read 2 paragraphs next, Bhavatrini?
Sure. Yes.
Thank you.
Once, while they were engaged in their transcendental pastimes, a great demon of the name Pralambasura entered their company, desiring to kidnap both Balaram and Krishna. Although Krishna was playing the part of a cowherd boy, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could understand everything, past, present, and future. So, when Pralambasura entered their company, Krishna began to think how to kill the demon, but externally he received him as a friend. "Oh, my dear friend," he said, "it is very good that you have come to take part in our pastimes." Krishna then called all his friends and ordered them, "Now we shall play in pairs. We shall challenge one another in pairs." With this proposal, all the boys assembled together. Some of them took the side of Krishna and some of them took the side of Balaram, and they arranged to play in duel. They defeated members in dueling fight had to carry the victorious members on their backs. They began playing and at the same time tended the cows as they proceeded through the Bandiravan forest. The party of Balaram, accompanied by Sridham and Vrishaba, came out victorious, and Krishna's party had to carry them on their backs through the Bandiravana forest. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, being defeated. Can you scroll it up, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Oh no, it took me to another page.
Oops.
Help. Okay, let's see. Tell me when to stop, please.
Yeah.
Wait, you're too far.
Wait.
Go back.
Go down a bit. Laura.
It was
Down,
the
down.
paragraph above. It's not this paragraph, it's before. Go up a little.
Keep going.
It's a little more.
There.
Okay, there.
Bus.
Bus.
Okay.
But you're going to have to
The,
scroll again,
victorious-
Laura, in a second.
Pardon?
Yeah.
You're going to have to scroll again in just a second.
Yes.
Okay, they began to. The party of Balaram, accompanied by Sridham and Vrishabha, came out victorious, and Krishna's party had to carry them on their backs through the Bandiravan forest. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, being defeated, had to carry Sridham on his back, and Bhadrasena carried Vrishabha. Imitating their play, Pralambasura, who appeared there as a cowherd boy, carried Balaram on his back. Pralambasura was the greatest of the demons, and he had calculated that Krishna was the most powerful of the cowherd boys. Pralambasura looked just like a cloud with lightning carrying the moon. In order to avoid the company of Krishna, Pralambasura carried Balaram far away. The demon was undoubtedly very strong and powerful, but he was carrying Balaram, who was compared with a mountain. Therefore, he began to feel the burden unless he assumed his real form. When he appeared in his real feature, he was decorated with a golden helmet and earrings and looked just like a cloud with lightning carrying the moon. Balaram observed the demon's body expanding up to the limits of the clouds, his eyes dazzling like blazing fire and his mouth flashing with sharpened teeth. At first, Balaram was surprised by the demon's appearance, and he began to wonder, how is it that all of a sudden this carrier has changed in every way? But with a clear mind, he quickly understood that he was being carried away from his friends by a demon who intended to kill him. Immediately, he struck the head of the demon with his strong fist, just as the king of the heavenly planets strikes a mountain with his thunderbolt. Being stricken by the fist of Balaram, the demon fell down dead, just like a snake with a smashed head, and blood poured from his mouth. When the demon fell, he made a tremendous sound, and it sounded as if a great hill were falling upon being struck by the thunderbolt of King Indra. All the boys then rushed to the spot. Being astonished by the ghastly scene, they began to praise Balaram with the words, "Well done, well done." All of them began to embrace Balaram with great affection, thinking that he had returned from death, and they offered their blessings and congratulations. All the demigods in the heavenly planet became very satisfied and showered flowers on the transcendental body of Balaram. And they also offered their blessings and congratulations for his having killed the great demon Pralambasura. Do you want to read?
Sadhu means well done, right?
Yes, sadhu, sadhu. Did
Have
you want to read?
Good. Have you and Hari written a song about Pralambasura?
Yes, we have a song about him.
She did.
Yes. Would you like to hear it?
Is it a song just about him?
Yes, it's just about him. No, it's not. It's Krishna, Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure.
Okay.
Only
Well,
Balaram. It's only
Maybe-
about Balaram.
Maybe you can just sing the Balaram, the Pralamba. Maybe you can just
No,
sing.
it's just the song about that. It's not about any other pastime.
Oh, good. Okay, so let's read more. So would you mind singing that for us tonight?
I'll bring
No.
the guitars then.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
keep reading.
Oh,
No,
no,
but no rush right now. It's your turn to read in your Hari Prabhu.
He just ran to get the guitars. Yeah, come back. He's going to read, and we'll get the guitars after he reads. Yeah. No, you can. I just read 2 paragraphs. So it's your turn.
There's lots of time left.
Krishna and Balaram and their friends were engaged in the past.
Hold on. This is chapter 19, Devouring the Forest Fire. Okay, go on.
Okay,
Please.
my first BTG. All right. 1971. Ganganarayan Prabhu. All right. While Krishna and Balaram and their friends were engaged in pastimes described above, the cows, being unobserved, began to wander off on their own, entering farther and farther into the deepest part of the forest, allured by fresh grasses. The goats, cows, and buffalo travel from one forest to another and enter the forest known as Ishakaptavi. This forest was full of green grass, and therefore they were allured. But when they entered, they saw that there was a forest fire, and they began to cry. On the other side, Balaram and Krishna, along with their friends, could not find their animals, and they became very aggrieved. They began to trace the cows by following their footsteps, as well as the path of eaten grass. Although the boys were fearing that the very means of livelihood, the cows, were now lost. Soon, however, they heard the crying of their cows. Krishna began to call the cows by their respective names with great noise. Upon hearing Krishna calling, the cows immediately replied with joy. But by this time, the forest fire surrounded all of them, and the situation appeared to be very fearful. The flames increased as the wind blew very quickly, and it appeared that everything movable and immovable would be devoured. All the cows and the boys became very frightened, and they looked towards Balaram the way a dying man looks at the picture of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They said, "Dear Krishna and Balaram, we are now burning from the heat of this blazing fire. Let us take shelter of your lotus feet. We know you can protect us from this great danger. Our dear friend Krishna, we are your intimate friends. It is not right that we should suffer in this way. We are all completely dependent on you, and you are the knower of all religious life. We do not know anyone except you."
Is that 2 paragraphs, or do you have one more?
It was one long one, as far as I could tell.
Go ahead. Another.
Okay. Krishna, the supreme mystic, immediately swallowed up all the flames of fire. Sorry for the noise. The personality of Godhead heard the appealing voices of his friends, and casting a pleasing glance over them, he began to answer. By speaking through his eyes, he impressed his friends that there was no cause for fear. Then Krishna, the supreme mystic, the powerful personality of Godhead, immediately swallowed up all the flames of the fire. The cows and boys were thus saved from imminent danger. Out of fear, the boys were almost unconscious, but when they regained their consciousness and opened their eyes, they saw that they were again in the forest with Krishna, Balaram, and the cows. They were astonished to see that they were completely free from the attack of the blazing fire and that the cows were saved. They secretly thought that Krishna must not be an ordinary boy, but some demigod.
Do you have a song about the forest fire too, Bhavatrini?
She's upstairs. No, I'm not sure. As far as I know,
Okay.
don't have that. But there is one with all the pastimes. I don't know where she went. We got the guitars here. Wow, look at the original Krishna book painting.
Yeah, Prabhupada loved them.
Yes. He
We
said
need
it has so
Krishna
much
in
bhakti.
California. We need Krishna in California to swallow all the forest fires.
Yes.
Oh, the fires are going on again?
This summer, yes, not quite as bad as last summer, but yes, huge, absolutely huge.
Oh, yeah, recently. Yeah, I remember the Bhajar devotees had to,
Yes,
they
that's
were
right.
warned to evacuate. Yeah.
Those cows don't look very disturbed on the left.
No, they don't. They're just looking away. And They're not looking at Krishna, say, please, like a dying man looking at the picture of the Supreme Personality of God.
Right.
That's right.
Wow, training. Oh, okay. Well, do you want to
Here's
go
a
on,
modern
Prabhu?
version.
Yeah.
Here's a modern
yes,
version of Krishna power.
Right.
No,
I think this
before
is
the
this is Shamarani's.
Sorry. Oh, you think that's hers? Okay.
I think so. Yeah. This one I can. There was another Pralambasura. Remember the old one? Let me see.
Yeah.
Let's see. He's.
Here's a, I don't know if this is
That's
called
great.
Oh, that's sweet. I love that
Congra.
one.
Yeah,
Wow.
Very stylized.
the cows look a little
Yeah.
stylized. Stylized means what?
Well, it's in a particular
Like
painting.
Congra or
Kangra, I think it's called Kangra, yeah.
a
Mhm.
particular
Is that
style.
It looks like even Balaram is covering his eyes in this one. Everybody's got their hands on their eyes, apparently.
Huh.
Because he does tell them, just please cover your eyes.
They're two different, they're two
There's
different
He was wondering
different
if we have one
times.
about the.
Forest fire?
Right. Mhm.
No, we don't.
Chapter 18 is called Extinguishing the Forest Fire.
Yeah.
This one's called Devouring the Forest Fire. So I'm trying to remember what's the difference, because the
One of them,
Pralambasura pastimes in between the two of them.
yeah, one of them, they cover their eyes and the other
I
one,
can
they
move
don't.
this.
If we're gonna play, we can.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
And
that's-
there's the modern Pralambasura, and here's the original Pralambasura.
yeah, that's the one. This particular one, I think, is the one that was on the back of it, PTT, 1971.
Shall we read a little bit more, or
Yes.
are your cars ready to go?
We're not
Not
ready
really.
to go.
Well, depends if you want all electronic, or otherwise we just use this mic here, like we did last time. Was okay.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you hear us well?
If you wait a few minutes, we have a whole setup with the mixer and we can
Oh,
plug in our
wow.
guitars.
Okay. You'll have to come over and set mine up for me. All right.
Actually, our sound engineer who lives in LA gave us a surprise visit 3 days ago and set everything up for us.
Nice. Oh, I wish I had a friend like that.
Hard to read.
Okay. So let me get back to the reading here. All right, I guess it's my turn unless Jivan Mukta has arrived. Let me have a look to see who else is here. No, I guess it's just you folks. All right, back to me.
So in the evening.
In the evening, Krishna and Balaram, along with the boys and cows, returned to Vrindavan, playing their flutes. As they approached the village, all the gopis became very joyous. I was just trying to imagine what the flutes of Krishna and Balaram sound like. I was thinking I need to play a little more flute music around my apartment here. Throughout the day, the gopis used to think of Krishna while he was in the forest, and in his absence, were considering one moment to be like 12 years. So that's where that statement of Lord Chaitanya comes from, like 12 years or more. Considering a moment to be like 12 years or more.
And Krishna has 3 flutes, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, the Bansuri
Funkshi.
and the Murli.
Murli.
Yeah. And what's the other one? The Venu? Is it just called Venu?
I thought one's called Vangshi, isn't it? Or
Bansuri is one way of saying it.
Bansuri, yes.
Yeah.
And they have different lengths and different depths of sound.
I guess so. I haven't seen an elaboration of that fact.
I'll have to find that. So now we're right at where we are experiencing right now. All the leaves are, I don't know what it's like in California or Hawaii, but everything's red and gold here right now.
Yeah, same here, and it's raining.
Yeah, same here. Okay, so I'll read a paragraph since I read one already. Chapter 20, description of autumn. The killing of Pralambasura and the devouring of the devastating forest fire by Krishna and Balaram became household topics in Vrindavan. The cowherd men described these wonderful activities to their wives and to everyone else, and all were struck with wonder. They concluded And Krishna and Balaram were demigods who had kindly come to Vrindavan to become their children. In this way, the rainy season ensued. In India, after the scorching heat of the summer, the rainy season is very welcome. The clouds accumulating in the sky, covering the sun and the moon, become very pleasing to the people, and they expect rainfall at every moment. After summer, the advent of the rainy season is considered to be a life-giving source for everyone. The thunder and occasional lightning are also pleasurable to the people. Krishna Chandra Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. The symptoms of the rainy season may be compared to the symptoms of the living entities who are covered by the three modes of material nature. The unlimited sky is like the supreme Brahman, and the tiny living entities are like the covered sky or Brahman covered by the three modes of material nature. Originally, everyone is part and parcel of Brahman. The supreme Brahman, or the unlimited sky, can never be covered by a cloud, but a portion of it can be covered. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they are only an insignificant portion of the Supreme Lord. This portion is covered by the modes of material nature, and therefore the living entities are residing within this material world. The Brahma Jyoti, spiritual effulgence, is just like the sunshine. As the sunshine is full of molecular shining particles, so the Brahma Jyoti is full of minute portions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of that unlimited expansion of minute portions of the Supreme Lord, some are covered by the influence of material nature, whereas others are free. Clouds are accumulated water drawn from the land by the sunshine. Continually, for 8 months, the sun evaporates all kinds of water from the surface of the globe. And this, we need more. Thank you. And this water is accumulated in the shape of clouds, which are distributed as water when there is need. Similarly, a government exacts various taxes from the citizens, which the citizens are able to pay by their different material activities: agriculture, trade, and industry. Thus, the government can also exact taxes in the form of income tax and sales tax. This is compared to the sun drawing water from the earth. When there is again need of water on the surface of the globe, the same sunshine converts the water into clouds and distributes it all over the globe. Similarly, the taxes collected by the government must be distributed to the people again as educational work, public work, sanitary work, etc. This is very essential for a good government. The government should not simply exact tax for useless squandering. The tax collection should be utilized for the public welfare of the state.
Gosh golly, we can quote the Vedas to the current politicians then. During the rainy season, there are strong winds blustering all over the country and carrying clouds from one place to another to distribute water. When water is urgently needed after the summer season, the clouds are just like a rich man who, in times of need, distributes his money, even by exhausting his whole treasury. So the clouds exhaust themselves by distributing water all over the surface of the globe. When Maharaj Dasarath, the father of Lord Ramachandra, used to fight with his enemies, it was said that he approached them just like a farmer uprooting unnecessary plants and trees. And when there was need of giving charity, He used to distribute money exactly as a cloud distributes rain. The distribution of rain by clouds is so sumptuous that it's compared to the distribution of wealth by a great munificent person. The cloud's downpour is so sufficient that the rain even falls on the rocks and the hills and on the oceans and the seas where there's no need for water. It's like a charitable person who opens his treasury for distribution and who doesn't discriminate whether the charity is needed or not. He gives in charity open-handedly. Gosh, what a fabulous description of rain. Are you there, Gora?
I'm right here.
Hi,
Who's there?
you.
No, did you finish your second paragraph?
Yeah, I do believe so. I had two
Okay.
short ones. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So then it's Nurhari and Bavatrini. Why are you asking?
Okay, ready?
We're here.
Or Rasangi is here finally. Are you, but doesn't look like she can read because she's driving.
Oh,
I'm not driving, but I can read. I'm in the car, but I can, whenever you want me to read.
All right, thank you. Nurhari and Bavatrini, would you like, did you want to read now, play now, or what would you like to do?
I'll read when I get home.
Whichever way you like.
we're set up.
Or set out this.
We could sing and then Rashanti could read. That's it.
Okay, you gonna sing?
Oh,
Okay.
Because we just finished
Don't
reading
say
about.
anything until we're done.
Yeah,
just-
don't say anything about it till after we do it. We don't know how it's gonna turn out.
Okay. A 1, 2,
hey,
a
we're
1,
getting
2,
a
3, 4.
concert. Woohoo!
What's the title of this?
Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure. Krishna, Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure. Balaram, Balaram, this is our dear brother. Krishna, Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure. Krishna, Krishna, blowing on his flute. Balaram brings and comes in his company. Entering the forest of Vrindavan happily. Krishna, Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure. Balaram, Balaram, this is our dear brother. Pralambasura came to steal the transcendental brothers. Krishna knew he was bad, but he treated him like the others. Let's play here today in a dueling fight. The one to lose they must take, the winners for a ride. Through the woods on their backs, swallowing their pride. Krishna had to carry Shri Ram, Pralambasura Balaram. Carry Balaram far away, thinking they would kill him. Like a mountain Balaram made, he began to crush him. Pralambasura took his form as a big black demon. Balaram saw his form, standing to the limits, decorated with gold earrings and golden helmet, like a cloud with lightning carrying the moon. Balaram, Balaram, he will kill him soon.
All around, all around, he will kill him soon. All around, wondered how he's changed in every way. All around, wondered how he's changed in every way. I couldn't see now that he wants to kill me today. With his strong fist he did strike a demon on his head. With a crash he fell down upon the ground quite dead. Like a snake, a snake with a smashed head. Krishna, Krishna, and the cowboy boys came. Well done, they did all explain. Krishna, Krishna, reservoir of pleasure. All around, this is soldier brother. Krishna, Krishna, reservoir of pleasure. All around, this is soldier brother.
Thank you very much. I was thinking one of the guitars was a little bit competing with the voice. I was straining my ears because I was trying to get
Sorry.
word, and I was thinking, I wonder if we could have heard the lyrics better if it was done acoustically.
Oh, well, we can turn the guitar down. Did you want me
But I didn't want to say that to you while you were singing.
My volume was up in the guitar.
Oh.
The guitar was a little too loud. Yeah, I noticed that.
His guitar was up too loud.
Anyway, it's beautiful. But Prabhupada never got a chance to hear this, did he? You composed this afterwards.
No, I only sang one song for Prabhupada, but I had I had about 30 songs before he left the planet.
Wow, but he only heard which one?
Sudama.
And he liked it.
Yes.
What did he say?
Very nice.
And Srila Narayan Maharaj, she heard several as well.
Many.
Yeah, many. Brahma Gita was one of his favorites.
That's great. It's really great. You can
The Bumblebee song.
You can give this transcendental entertainment to these great souls. It's wonderful. Nice service. It's directly from the Krishna book. Your words are directly from.
Yeah, that's why Trini's talent. And I just follow
He
her.
also writes songs, but we did
One of them-
Rathayatra festivals for 12 years.
Cool.
Before, and then when we were associating with Srila Gurudev Narayan Maharaj.
So whose turn is it to read now? Can anyone remember? Or I guess it's your turn, Baba Trini Nirhari.
Okay.
If you're able to.
Rani is here.
Yes.
Oh, let Sikarani read.
Okay, Sikarani, please read before the rainfall, the whole surface of the globe.
Before the rainfall, the whole surface of the globe becomes almost depleted of all kinds of energies and appears very lean. After the rainfall, the whole surface of the earth becomes green with vegetation and appears to be very healthy and strong. Here, a comparison is made with the person undergoing austerities for fulfillment of a material desire. The flourishing condition of the earth after a rainy season is compared with the fulfillment of material desires. Sometimes, when a country is subjugated by an undesirable government, persons and parties undergo severe penances and austerities to get control of the government. And when they attain control, they flourish by giving themselves generous salaries. This also is like the flourishing of the earth in the rainy season. Actually, one should undergo severe austerities and penances only to achieve spiritual happiness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that tapasa or penance should be accepted for realizing the Supreme Lord. By accepting austerity in devotional service, one regains his spiritual life, and as soon as one regains his spiritual life, he enjoys unlimited spiritual bliss. But if someone undertakes austerities and penances for some material gain, it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the results are temporary and that they are desired by the persons of less intelligence. During the rainy season, in the evening, there are many glowworms visible about the top of trees, hither and thither, and they glitter just like lights, but the luminaries of the sky, the stars, and the moons are not visible. Similarly, in the age of Kali, persons who are atheists, or miscreants become very prominently visible, whereas persons who are actually following the Vedic principles for spiritual emancipation are practically obscured. This age, Kali Yuga, is compared to the cloudy season of the living entities. In this age, real knowledge is covered by the influence of material advancement of civilization. The cheap mental speculators, atheists, and manufacturers of so-called religious become principles or scriptural injunctions become covered by the clouds of this age.
Become
People,
prominent like the glowworms.
no,
You skipped a sentence.
no,
Religious principles.
I'm at the above line only. You are going ahead one line.
Okay.
People should learn to take advantage of the actual luminaries of the sky, the sun, moon, and stars, instead of the glowworm's light. Actually, the glowworm can't give any light in the darkness of night, as clouds sometimes clear even in the rainy season, and sometimes the moon, stars, and sun become visible. So even in this Kali Yuga, there are sometimes advantages. The Vedic movement of Lord Chaitanya's, the distribution of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, is heard in this way. People seriously anxious to find real life should take advantage of this movement instead of looking toward the light of mental speculators and atheists. After the first rainfall, when there is a thundering sound in the clouds, all the frogs begin to croak. Like students suddenly engaged in reading their studies, students are generally supposed to rise early in the morning. They do not usually arise of their own accord. However, but only when there is a bell sounded in the temple or in the cultural institution by the order of the spiritual master, they immediately rise, and after finishing their morning duties they sit down to study the Vedas or chant Vedic mantras. Everyone is sleeping in the darkness of Kali Yuga, but when there is a great acharya by his calling only, everyone takes to study of the Vedas to acquire actual knowledge. During the rainy season, many small ponds, lakes, and rivulets become filled with water. Otherwise, the rest of the year they remain dry. Similarly, materialistic persons are dry, but sometimes when they are in a so-called opulent position with a home or children or a little bank balance, they appear to be flourishing, but immediately afterwards they become dry again, like the small rivulets and ponds. The poet Vidyapati said that in the society of friends, family, children, wife, etc., there is certainly some pleasure, happiness, but that pleasure is compared to a drop of water in the desert. Everyone is hankering after happiness, just as in the desert everyone is hankering after water. If in the desert there is a drop of water, the water is there, of course, but the benefit from that drop of water is very insignificant. In our materialistic way of life, we are hankering after an ocean of happiness, but in the form of society, friends, and mundane love, we are getting no more than a drop of water. Our satisfaction is never achieved, as the small rivulets, lakes, and ponds are never filled with water in the dry season.
Rasangi, are you able to read now? Rasangi? Rasangi, it looks like you're at home.
Yeah.
Is she muted? She's muted.
Yes. Could you please unmute yourself, Rasangi, so we could hear you?
Oh, yes, I can.
Thank you.
I'm on my phone. It's a little tricky. Okay, due to the rainfall, trees and vegetation look very green. Sometimes the grass is covered by a certain kind of red insect. And when the green and the red combine with umbrella-like mushrooms, the entire scene changes, just like a person who has suddenly become rich. The farmer then becomes very happy to see his field full of grains, but the capitalists, who are always unaware of the activities of a supernatural power, become unhappy because they are afraid of a competitive price. In some places, certain capitalists and government restrict the farmer from producing too much grains, not knowing the actual fact that all food grains are supplied by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to the Vedic injunction, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead maintains this creation. Therefore, he arranges for a supply of whatever is required for all living entities. When there is population increase, it is the business of the Supreme Lord to feed them. Persons who are atheists or miscreants do not like abundant production of food grains, especially if their business might be hampered. Yes, scarcity drives the prices up, huh? During the rain,
That's right.
right. During the rainy season, all living entities in the land, sky, and water become very refreshed, exactly like one who engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. We have practical experience of this with our students in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Before becoming students, they were dirty looking, although they had naturally beautiful personal features. But due to having no information of Krishna consciousness, they appeared very dirty and wretched, very wretched. Since they have taken to Krishna consciousness, their health has improved. And by following the rules and regulations, their bodily luster has increased. When they are dressed with saffron colored cloth, with tilak on their foreheads and heads, and beads in their hands and on their necks, they look exactly as if they came directly from Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha men.
No Ralph Lauren t-shirts and baseball hats?
No Western, or what is it? No Krishna West around there.
Was that 2 paragraphs, or Sangi?
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you. In the rainy season, when the rivers swell and rush to well, let me just check to see if Jivan Mukta has made his appearance or not. No, it doesn't look like he's here. Okay, in the rainy season, when the rivers swell and rush to the oceans and seas, they appear to agitate the ocean. Similarly, if a person who is engaged in the yoga mystic process is not very advanced in spiritual life, he can become agitated by the sex impulse. High mountains, however, although splashed by torrents of rain, do not change. So a person who is advanced in Krishna consciousness, even if put into difficulties, is not embarrassed, because a person who is spiritually advanced accepts any adverse condition of life as the mercy of the Lord. And thus he is completely eligible to enter into the kingdom, spiritual kingdom. In the rainy season, some of the roads are not frequently used and they become covered with long grasses. This is exactly like a Brahmin who is not accustomed to studying and practicing the reformatory methods of Vedic injunctions. He becomes covered with the long grasses of Maya. In that condition, forgetful of his constitutional nature, he forgets his position of eternal servitorship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by being deviated by the seasonal overgrowth of long grasses created by Maya. A person identifies himself with Mayak production and succumbs to illusion, forgetting his spiritual life. Krishna Chandra.
During the rainy season, lightning appears in one group of clouds and then immediately in another group of clouds. This phenomenon is compared to a lusty woman who does not fix her mind on one man. A cloud is compared to a qualified person because it pours rain and gives sustenance to many people. A man who is qualified similarly gives sustenance to many living creatures, such as family members or many workers in business. Unfortunately, his whole life can be disturbed by a wife who divorces him. When the husband is disturbed, the whole family is ruined. The children are dispersed, or the business is closed, and everything is affected. It is therefore recommended that a woman desiring to advance in Krishna consciousness peacefully live with a husband, and that the couple not separate under any condition. The husband and wife should control sex indulgence and concentrate their minds on Krishna consciousness, so their life may be successful. After all, in the material world, a man requires a woman, and a woman requires a man. When they are combined, they should live peacefully in Krishna consciousness and should not be restless like the lightning flashing from one group of clouds to another. Sometimes, in addition to the roaring thunder of the clouds, there is an appearance of a rainbow, which stands as a bow without a string. Actually, a bow is in the curved position, being tied at its two ends by the bowstring. But in the rainbow, there is no such string, and yet it rests in the sky so beautifully. Similarly, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends to this material world, he appears just like an ordinary human being, but he is not resting on any material condition. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he appears by his internal potency, which is free from the bondage of the external potency. What is bondage for the ordinary creature is freedom for the personality of Godhead. In the rainy season, the moonlight is covered by clouds but is visible at intervals. It sometimes appears that the moon is moving with the movement of the clouds, but actually the moon is still. Due to the clouds, it also appears to move. Similarly, for one who has identified himself with the moving material world, his actual spiritual luster is covered by illusion. And with the movement of material activities, he thinks he is moving through different spheres of life. This is due to false ego, which is the demarcation between spiritual and material existence, just as the moving cloud is the demarcation between moonlight and darkness. In the rainy season, when the clouds appear for the first time after seeing their appearance, the peacocks begin to dance with joy. This can be compared to persons who are very harassed in the material way of life. If they can find the association of a person engaged in the loving devotional service of the Lord, they become enlightened, just like the peacocks when they dance. We have the practical experience of this because many of our students were dry and morose previous to their coming to Krishna consciousness. But having come into contact with devotees, they are now dancing like jubilant peacocks.
So beautiful.
Okay.
Plants and creepers grow by drinking water from the ground. Similarly, a person practicing austerities becomes dry. After the austere performances are completed and he gets the result, he begins to enjoy life in sense gratification with family, society, love, home, and other paraphernalia. Sometimes it's seen that cranes and ducks meander continually on the banks of the lakes and rivers, although the banks are filled with muddy garbage and thorny creepers. Similarly, persons who are householders without Krishna consciousness are constantly tarrying in the material life, in spite of all kinds of inconveniences. In family life or any life, one cannot be perfectly happy without being Krishna conscious. Srila Narottam Das Thakur prays that he will have the association of a person, either a householder or a man in the renounced order of life, who is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord and is always crying the holy name of the Lord Chaitanya. For the materialistic person, worldly affairs become too aggressive, whereas to a person who's in Krishna consciousness, everything appears to be happily situated. The barriers around the agricultural fields sometimes break due to heavy torrents of rain. Similarly, the unauthorized atheistic propaganda in the age of Kali breaks the boundaries of the Vedic injunctions, and thus people gradually degenerate to godlessness. In the rainy season, the clouds, tossed by wind, deliver water which is welcomed like nectar. When the Vedic followers, the Brahmins, inspire rich men like kings and the wealthy mercantile community to give charity in the performance of great sacrifices, the distribution of such wealth is also nectarian. The four sections of human society, namely the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, are meant to live peacefully in a cooperative mood. This is possible when they're guided by the expert Vedic Brahmins who perform sacrifices and distribute wealth equally.
Baba Trini or Nrihari?
Vrindavan forest improved from the rains and was replete with ripened dates, mangoes, blackberries, and other fruits. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his boyfriends and Lord Balaram entered the forest to enjoy the new seasonal atmosphere. The cows, being fed by new grasses, became very healthy and their milk bags were all very full. When Lord Krishna called them by name, they immediately came to him out of affection, and in their joyful condition, the milk flowed from their bags. Lord Krishna was very pleased when passing through the Vrindavan forest by the side of Govardhan Hill. On the bank of the Jamuna, he saw all the trees decorated with beehives pouring honey. There were many waterfalls on Govardhan Hill, and their flowing made a nice sound. Krishna heard them as he looked into the caves of the hill. When the rainy season was not ended completely, but was gradually turning to autumn, sometimes, especially when there was rainfall within the forest, Krishna and his companions would sit under a tree or within the caves of Govardhan Hill and enjoy eating the ripened fruits and talking with great pleasure. When Krishna and Balaram were in the forest all day, Mother Jashoda used to send them some rice mixed with yogurt, fruits, and sweetmeat. Krishna would take them and sit on a slab of stone on the bank of the Yamuna. While Krishna and Balaram and their friends were eating, they watched the cows, calves, and bulls. The cows appeared to be tired from standing with their heavy milk bags. By sitting and chewing grass, they became happy, and Krishna was pleased to see them. He was proud to see the beauty of the forest, which was nothing but the manifestation of his own energy. At such times, Krishna would praise nature's special activities during the rainy season. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the material energy or nature is not independent in its actions. Nature is acting under the superintendence of Krishna. It is also stated in the Brahma Samhita that material nature, known as Durga, is acting as the shadow of Krishna. Whatever order is sent from Krishna, material nature obeys. Therefore, the natural beauty created by the rainy season was acted out according to the indications of Krishna. Soon, all the water reservoirs became very clean and pleasing, and refreshing air was blowing everywhere because of the appearance of autumn. The sky was completely cleared of all clouds, and it recovered its natural blue color. The blooming lotus flowers and the clear water in the forest appeared like a person who has fallen down from yoga practice, but again has become beautiful by resuming his spiritual life.
Nrihari Prabhu?
Everything becomes naturally beautiful with the appearance of the autumn season. Similarly, When a materialistic person takes to Krishna consciousness and spiritual life, he also becomes as clear as the sky and water in autumn. The autumn season takes away the rolling of dark clouds in the sky, as well as the polluted water. Filthy conditions on the ground also become cleansed. Similarly, a person who takes to Krishna consciousness immediately becomes cleansed of all dirty things within and without. Krishna is therefore known as Hari. Hari means he who takes away. Krishna immediately takes away all unclean habits from anyone who takes to Krishna consciousness. The clouds of autumn are white, for they do not carry any water. Similarly, a retired man being freed from all responsibility of family affairs, namely maintaining home, wife, and children, and taking completely to Krishna consciousness, becomes free from all anxieties and looks as white as clouds in autumn. Sometimes in autumn, the falls come down from the top of the hill to supply clean water. And sometimes they stop. Similarly, sometimes great saintly persons distribute clear knowledge, and sometimes they are silent. The small ponds, which are filled with water because of the rainy season, gradually dried up in autumn. As for the tiny aquatics living in the reservoirs, they cannot understand that their numbers are diminishing day by day, as the materially engrossed persons cannot understand that their duration of life is being reduced day by day. Such persons are engaged in maintaining cows, property, children, wives, society, and friendship. Due to reduced water and scorching heat from the sun in autumn season, the small creatures living in small reservoirs of water are much disturbed. They are exactly like uncontrolled persons who are always unhappy from being unable to enjoy life or maintain their family members. The muddy earth gradually dries up, and newly grown fresh vegetables begin to wither. Similarly, for those who have taken to Krishna consciousness, desire for family enjoyment gradually dries up. Continue, or
Did you do two?
I did too?
Yeah.
Okay. I did too, I think.
I think you did. too.
Okay. It was a long one.
Yeah,
Oh, well, maybe,
yeah, it was one paragraph.
oh, he didn't do two, sorry.
Okay, so do another. Where did you end?
Tries that.
Gradually dries up because the appearance, it starts out because the appearance. Because of the appearance of autumn season, the water of the ocean becomes calm and quiet, just as a person developed in self-realization is no longer disturbed by the three modes of material nature. In autumn, farmers save the water within the fields by building strong walls so that the water contained within the field cannot run out. There is hardly any hope for new rainfalls. Therefore, they want to save water in the field. So the water is in the field. Similarly, a person who is actually advanced in self-realization protects his energy by controlling the senses. It is advised that after the age of 50, one should retire from family life and should conserve the energy of the body for utilization in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. Unless one is able to control the senses and engage them in the transcendental loving service of Mukunda, there is no possibility of salvation.
Sikarani.
During the daytime in autumn, the sun is very scorching, but at night, due to the clear moonshine, people get relief from the day's fatigue. If a person takes shelter of Mukunda or Krishna, he can be saved from the fatigue of misidentifying the body with the self. Mukunda or Krishna is also the source of solace to the damsels of Vrindavana. The damsels of Vrajabhumi, are always suffering because of separation from Krishna. When they meet Krishna during the moonlight autumn night, their fatigue of separation is also satiated. When the sky is clear of all clouds, the stars at night shine very beautifully. Similarly, when a person is actually situated in Krishna consciousness, he is cleared of all dirty things, and he becomes as beautiful as the stars in the autumn sky. Although the Vedas prescribe karma in the form of offering sacrifices, their ultimate purpose is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. One has to accept Krishna's consciousness after thoroughly understanding the purpose of the Vedas. Therefore, the clean heart exhibited by a devotee in consciousness can be compared to the clean sky of the autumn season. During autumn, the moon looks very bright along with the stars in the clear sky. Lord Krishna himself appeared in the sky of the Yadu dynasty, and he was exactly like the moon surrounded by the stars, or the members of the Yadu dynasty. When there are ample blooming flowers in the gardens in the forest, the fresh aromatic breeze gives a great relief to the person who has suffered during the summer and rainy seasons. Unfortunately, such breezes couldn't give any relief to the gopis because of their hearts' dedication to Krishna. People in general might have taken pleasure in that nice autumn breeze, but the gopis, not being impressed by Krishna, were not very satisfied. On arrival of the autumn season, all the cows, deer, birds, and females in general become pregnant, because in that season, generally all the husbands become impelled by sex desire. This is exactly like the transcendentalists, who, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, are bestowed with the benediction of their destinations in life. Srila Rupa Goswami has instructed in his Upadeshamrita that one should follow devotional service with great enthusiasm, patience, and conviction, and should all follow the rules and regulations, keep oneself clean from material contamination, and stay in the association of devotees.
By following these principles, one is sure to achieve the desired result of devotional service. Are you there, Sikarani? For he who patiently follows the regulative principles of devotional service, the time will come when he will achieve the result as the wives who reap results by becoming pregnant.
Yeah,
Mritangi, are you able to read?
I came back.
Mritangi's turn now.
Okay.
Okay, during
Yes.
the autumn, the lotus flowers in the lakes grow in large numbers because of the absence of lilies. Both the lilies and the lotus flowers grow by sunshine, but during the autumn season, the scorching sunshine helps only the lotus. This example is given in the case of a country where the king or government is strong. The rise of unwanted elements like thieves and robbers cannot prosper. When the citizens become confident that they will not be attacked by robbers, they develop very satisfactorily. A strong government is compared to the scorching sunshine in the autumn season. The lilies are compared to unwanted persons like robbers, and the lotus flowers are compared to the satisfied citizens of the government. During autumn, the fields become filled with ripened grains. At that time, the people become happy over the harvest and observe various ceremonies such as Nirvana, the offering of new grains to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The new grains are first offered to the deities in various temples. And all are invited to take sweet rice made of these new grains. There are other religious ceremonies and methods of worship, particularly in Bengal, where the greatest of all such ceremonies is held, called Durga Puja. In Vrindavan, the autumn season is very beautiful then because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Krishna and Balaram. The mercantile community, the royal order, and great sages were free to move to achieve their desired benedictions. Similarly, the transcendentalists, when freed from the encagement of the material body, also achieved their desired goal. During the rainy season, the mercantile community cannot move from one place to another, and so do not get their desired profit, nor can the royal order go from one place to another to collect taxes from the people. As for saintly persons who must travel to preach transcendental knowledge, they are also restrained by the rainy season. Not Gora. Gora goes in the snow and the cold and any time. Okay. During the autumn, all of them leave their confines. In the case of the transcendentalist, be he a jnani, a yogi, or a devotee, because of the material body, he cannot actually enjoy spiritual achievement. But as soon as he gives up the body, or after death, the jnani emerges into the spiritual effulgence of the Supreme Lord. The yogi transfers himself to the various higher planets, and the devotee goes to the planet of the Supreme Lord, Goloka Vrindavan, or the Vaikunthas, and thus enjoys his eternal spiritual life. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 20th chapter of Krishna, description of autumn. Jai.
Yay.
Jai autumn.
So
You're the
shall we
star.
hear from anybody about any highlights that stood out for them, or should we start on this next chapter?
Let's start on the next chapter so we can.
All right, Bob Trini's totally fired up. Chapter 21, the gopis attracted by the flute. Krishna was very pleased with the atmosphere of the forest where flowers bloomed and bees and drones hummed very jubilantly. While the birds, trees, and branches were all looking very happy, Krishna, tending the cows, accompanied by Sri Balaram and the cowherd boys, began to vibrate his transcendental flute. After hearing the vibration of the flute of Krishna, the gopis in Vrindavan remembered him and began to talk amongst themselves about how nicely Krishna was playing his flute. When the gopis were describing the sweet vibration of Krishna's flute, they also remembered their pastimes with him. Thus, their minds became disturbed, and they were unable to describe completely the beautiful vibrations. While discussing the transcendental vibration, they remembered also how Krishna dressed, decorated with a peacock feather on his head, just like a dancing actor, and with blue flowers pushed over his ear. His garment glowed yellow gold, and he was garlanded with a Vaijayanti necklace. Dressed in such an attractive way, Krishna filled up the holes of his flute with the nectar emanating from his lips. So they remembered him entering the forest of Vrindavan, which is always glorified by the footprints of Krishna and his companions. Krishna was very expert in playing the flute, and the gopis were captivated by the sound vibration, which was not only attractive to them, but to all living creatures who heard it. One of the gopis told her friends, "The highest perfection of the eyes is to see Krishna and Balaram entering the forest and playing their flutes and tending the cows with their friends." Krishna Chandra.
Persons who are constantly engaged in the transcendental meditation of seeing Krishna internally and externally by thinking of him playing the flute and entering the Vrindavan forest have really attained the perfection of samadhi. Samadhi, trance, means absorption of all the activities of the senses on a particular subject. And the gopis indicate that the pastimes of Krishna are the perfection of all meditation and samadhi. It is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that anyone who is always absorbed in the thought of Krishna is the topmost of all yogis. Another gopi expressed her opinion that Krishna and Balaram, while tending the cows, appeared just like actors going to play on a dramatic stage. Krishna was dressed in glowing garments of yellow, Balaram in blue, and they held new twigs of mango tree, peacock feathers, and bunches of flowers in their hands. Dressed with garlands of lotus flowers, they were sometimes singing very sweetly among their friends. One gopi told her friend, "How is it Krishna and Balaram are looking so beautiful?" Another gopi said, "My dear friend, we cannot even think of his bamboo flute What sort of pious activities did it execute so that it is now enjoying the nectar of the lips of Krishna? Krishna sometimes kisses the gopis. Therefore, the transcendental nectar of his lips is available only to them, and his lips are considered their property. Therefore, the gopis asked, how is it possible that the flute, which is nothing but a bamboo rod, is always engaged in enjoying the nectar from Krishna's lips? Because the flute is engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, the mother and the father of the flute must be happy.
The lakes and the rivers are considered to be the mothers of the trees, because the trees live simply by drinking water. So the waters of the lakes and the rivers of Vrindavan were full of happy lotus flowers, because the waters were thinking, how is it our son, the bamboo rod, is enjoying the nectar of Krishna's lips? The bamboo trees standing on the banks of the rivers and the lakes were also happy to see their descendants so engaged in the service of the Lord, just as persons who are advanced in knowledge take pleasure to see their descendants engage in the service of the Lord. The trees were overwhelmed with joy and were incessantly yielding honey, which flowed from the beehives hanging on their branches. Sometimes the gopis spoke thus to their friends about Krishna. Dear friends, our Vrindavan is proclaiming the glories of this entire earth, because this planet is glorified by the lotus footprints of the son of Devaki. Besides that, when Govinda plays his flute, the peacocks immediately become mad. When all the animals and the trees and the plants, either on the top of Govardhan Hill or in the valley, see the dancing of the peacock, they all stand and listen to the transcendental sound of the flute with great attention. We think that this boon is not possible or available on any other planet. Although the gopis were village cowherd women and girls, they had knowledge of Krishna. Similarly, one can learn the highest truths simply by hearing the Vedas from authoritative sources.
One more paragraph, no?
No, that was two.
That was two. Okay. So,
Well,
yeah.
go down a bit. Yeah, another gopi. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, it's about it's a little bit after 9 o'clock here. Govardhan Puja, is that on Friday?
Yeah.
I mean, Srila Prabhupada's disappearance is 2 days after on Sunday, I think,
It's Monday.
or Monday.
Well, maybe it's just the mark here is on Monday, but yeah.
I don't know, it's not different. Oh,
Yeah, what date?
okay.
I'm
I'm looking at my calendar, but I thought it was the 5th.
The Monday is the 8th.
Govardhan Puja is on the 5th.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
as far as I remember.
yeah. Anyway, in Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, they're honoring Srila Prabhupada on Monday.
Okay. Mrisangi, do you have some program going on this week? Are you doing a Zoom coming up? What day? Time?
Wednesday. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is that?
My program, Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning. That's the Yoga in the Dark Night of the Soul study
Oh.
group.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
It's amazing. 10:30. We have several new members, God brothers and God sisters, and one young man, Kuva, from Lauren Orion's son, Kuver.
yeah, we know him well.
He's coming on from New Zealand, from Christchurch, New Zealand.
Oh,
Oh.
It's really fun to study together. I am in two other groups too. And the Mana Shiksha And
Okay, wait a minute, before you go there. I'm just trying to get clarity. It's 10:30 your time, dark night
Yeah.
of the soul. Is that
10:30
so?
my
That's
time.
10, 11, 12, 1:30 for me.
And you know, the nectar thing about it, Guru Das is there and he just showers us with inconceivable Prabhupada stories and nectar that most of us have never heard.
Which
Or
group?
Or if we heard it, he's the one who heard it originally personally from Prabhupada. So that's really, really sweet.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
1:30 my
it's
time.
a Zoom one?
Yeah, it's Zoom. I can send you the link. You have the book?
No, unfortunately, no. I think I did probably some in Honolulu.
You would have to order the book, but you can come and listen, but order the book so you can study it. This is a study group.
No.
Okay.
And
We-
what
we
else
read
did,
in-
But
Sorry.
please send us a link.
I'll send you the link, yeah.
and what else did you say is going on with Sangi?
Madhurya Kadambini, every
Yeah,
Sunday at
Sunday.
4.
Sunday.
That's at 4:00 my time. And that's such an amazing book because it's
Yeah.
just showing the independence of bhakti and all this inconceivable stuff. Really outlines it and helps to understand it better. Oh my
That
gosh.
should be my Chaitanya, correct? Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'll see.
Okay, you see, it would be so good for you. You would love it because it's personal and we connect and it's about our
Yeah.
own personal growth kind of thing.
But if I want to be on Sankirtan going in the snow, I'm not sure I'll be able to find a Wi-Fi connection for that. That's just,
Come on, just come on a little and then see what happens. If you have to go out, go out.
okay. I mean, to do any of these, if I get out, I'll be in a coffee shop with all, I'll have to be muting all the time. But
Maybe you can
but
put
our-
your phones in.
we'll see
But
if I
our-
can. Yes.
Our friend from Canada said he was going to help you find a place to stay maybe sometime. So didn't he say that?
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Ivan Mukta.
Oh, I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, it's after 9. Please accept my respectful obeisances. We'll see you on Wednesday, I hope. Bunch of
Bye.
donuts, rubies.
Titanam Bhavane.
Rastakam ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.